The number hit first. $3,847.92. 17 empty chairs stared back at me like witnesses. The birthday cake collapsed into frosting, candles dead and cold. A moment earlier, Jason had stood with his wine glass and detonated one word across the Sterling room: disgrace. Laughter vanished. Guests peeled away. A single waiter folded tablecloths in a silence that felt like judgment. Ink bled into my palm as I gripped the receipt. Alone, on my own birthday. Then the chandeliers caught a flicker from outside, red and blue washing the crystal. What happened next would make Jason regret every syllable. Before we go deeper into today's story of betrayal and redemption, don't forget to subscribe to Her Betrayal Stories and turn on the notification bell. Here, you'll always find stories of sacrifice, betrayal, and those shocking turnarounds where justice finally prevails. Where are you watching from today? Leave a comment below. Perhaps the next story will remind you of your own experience. Before the Sterling Room humiliation, the rot had a simple origin: a gold-embossed envelope and a handwritten tease. Looking forward to Thursday lunches. -M. That week, Jason left in his best suit. His cologne lingered in the hallway long after the door clicked shut. My dinner went cold. Wives who ask are wives who are silenced, I reminded myself, and filed the truth away. I was 48, the kind of woman who kept a home standing when money and men wavered. I gave up grad school, worked night shifts, pawned my grandmother's necklace for Jason's first big networking. When success finally arrived, he praised his vision, never the hands that paid for the light. Behind every successful man is a woman erased. Thursdays multiplied, sharper smiles, a phone that buzzed too often, stories that got thinner. Then came my birthday. Jason insisted on the Sterling Room for networking. 17 guests, none of them mine, a paper crown perched on my hair like a joke. Glasses clinked around deals I didn't recognize. Jason raised his glass. One word detonated across crystal and mahogany: disgrace. Laughter died. Chairs scraped. One by one, they followed him out, leaving 17 empty chairs and a cake collapsing into frosting. The bill waited like a dare: $3,847.92. Ink bled into my palm as I gripped the receipt. Outside, somewhere in the city, a dispatcher typed a name. The call that would send red and blue light back to this room sooner than Jason could imagine. Before we go deeper into today's story of betrayal and redemption, don't forget to subscribe to Her Betrayal Stories and turn on the notification bell. Where are you watching from today? Leave a comment below. Perhaps the next story will remind you of your own experience. If you were me, crown slipping, hands shaking, $3,847.92 burning through paper, what would you do? Crumble or rise? The windshield exploded into a spiderweb of glass, the horn screaming as metal cut into my lip. My phone buzzed on the seat beside me, cracked screen glowing with Jason's reply. Can't leave lunch. Call an Uber, 23 words. That was his answer to his wife in the ER. I pressed gauze to my brow. Blood trickled over my wedding ring until the gold turned red. My marriage stained in 1 second. The hospital called him 3 times. He silenced everyone. That night, Jason finally came home at 1:17 a.m., dropping his keys into the marble tray as if nothing mattered. A cake box sat on the table, courtesy of the restaurant manager who had pitied me. I had forced down one thin slice, sugar mixed with salt from my tears. "Where were you?" I asked. "Cleaning up your mess?" he sneered. "You embarrassed me." "It was my birthday," he scoffed. "You're almost 50. Birthdays aren't cute at your age. You're useless now. His words carved deeper than the glass. The next morning, I opened the mail with trembling hands. A cream envelope addressed to me. Inside, a safe deposit key, Box 312, in Aunt Ruth's handwriting. Ruth, who had died last winter. Jason had promised he handled the estate. Keep something with your name on it, Em, Ruth always told me. Not out of greed, out of wisdom. I closed my fist around the key. Not power, yet, but center. By noon, Jason paraded around on video calls, boasting about Thursday meetings. He mentioned her name casually, like perfume in the air. Madison's team comes Thursday. The house needs to look curated, Madison Cole. The woman he dressed for every Thursday lunch. Margaret, my mother-in-law, called soon after. Perception is everything, dear. Jason said you caused a scene. Don't be difficult, perception. And reality. I wrote 3 lines on a sticky note. Key. S-Box 312. Deed copy. Call Kelly Reed. That evening, I went to see Ryan, my brother. He hugged me before I could break. Your brother threw me out with the plates, I told him. I'll pay the bill. The bill is mine, I said. The humiliation is his. I showed him the key, the bloodied envelope, the bill. Did Jason intercept Aunt Ruth's mail? Ryan asked. He opens every envelope. Ryan pressed his spare car key into my palm. 2 exits, he said. Thursday came. The house looked like a magazine spread. Fresh lilies, glass polished, every cushion staged. Then she arrived. Madison Cole. Navy dress, flawless hair, perfume ahead of her voice. Jason, you look expensive. And you look like my next campaign. He laughed. Madison, I introduced myself. Her eyes slid down to my bare hand, my ring gone, left in a dish. The absence said more than words. They toured the house. Jason bragged. Madison nodded. This kitchen needs a story, she murmured, smoothing marble. Some stories write themselves, I said, then went upstairs. Under lavender sachets, I pulled out a folder years in the making, hospital statements I paid, tuition receipts, tax forms, and the deed copy Aunt Ruth had forced Jason to co-sign under survivorship. He called it symbolic. The county called it legal. I tucked the folder into my tote. Alongside it, the key. At the bank, Box 312 opened with a sigh. Inside, documents tied with a blue ribbon, Aunt Ruth's note. For the day you decide what you are owed. Investments, a payable on death account in my name. Letters confirming inheritance for me, not Jason. Something long bent inside me straightened. I copied what I needed, photographed the rest, and whispered, I hear you. Then I booked a locksmith. 2 new sets. Reiki tomorrow. That evening, Officer Kelly walked into the Sterling room. Jason froze, his wine glass midair. The officer's voice cut the laughter. Sir, we received a wellness check request. Your wife is at the hospital. Where were you? Cameras flashed. Madison's eyes widened. Minutes later, my phone buzzed. A message from her. A screenshot of Jason smiling in the Sterling room at the exact moment I was in surgery. Her caption, I'm done. He lied about you. I won't be part of this. The lie collapsed. The mask tore off. By sunrise, Ryan arrived with movers. 63 boxes rolled down the driveway, 1 marked in black ink. Wedding, photos, and keepsakes. Jason stopped at that box, his hands shaking. But the movers carried it out anyway. My humiliation was gone with him. If you've ever been silenced, if you've ever been told you're worthless, hear me. Their label is not your name. Respect isn't given by blood. It's earned through love and kindness. Would you have called the police from that hospital bed? Or waited for the right moment? Tell me in the comments. Your words may be the light someone else needs tonight. Monitors beeped. Glass glittered. In the ER, my hair was matted with blood when Jason texted, "Can't leave lunch. Call an Uber." Hours later, he was still at the Sterling Room, fine dining with his Thursday friend. By next Thursday, the people in uniform would know his name, and he would learn what regret tastes like under chandelier light. Sunday arrived pewter and rain-scented. I cracked the window, brewed tea instead of coffee, and laid 3 settings on the table: mine, Ryan's, Madison's. My movements were deliberate, like a lawyer placing exhibits where the jury can't miss them. Ryan stepped in first with supermarket flowers and his steady coach's calm. "Sis," he said, watching me closely. "You look taller." "Just standing straighter," I replied, setting the vase down. Heels clicked on the walk. Madison entered. Glossed hair, tailored dress, the handbag Jason had gifted swinging from her wrist. For a blink, I saw the little girl clutching her teddy bear in the back seat of our old car. Then the handbag flashed, and that little girl was gone. "Hi, Auntie," she said cautiously. "Dad says you've been upset." I breathed once. Careful. Patient. Disappointed. Not upset. "Sit, sweetheart." "It's stew." We ate in a quiet that wasn't empty. It was loading. Ryan filled the silence with a game story. Madison checked her phone twice, then set it face down. Steam curled upward. Time drifted in the air. I let the silence stretch until it could hold truth. "Madison," I asked gently, "what has your father told you about me?" Her shoulders stiffened. "That you're fragile. That he pays for everything. That you don't understand business." Ryan's spoon clinked against his bowl. "Unbelievable." I raised a hand. "And you believe that?" Her eyes flickered. "Sometimes. You never talk about money. You just keep the house going. That's the point." I slid a folder across the table, the one from the lavender drawer. "Look." Inside, tuition receipts, loan stubs, hospital bills I'd covered during Jason's visionary drought, a copy of the deed with my name under survivorship, a clause Aunt Ruth had insisted on when she gifted the down payment. On top, her note: "For the day, you decide what you are owed." Madison's fingers slowed as she turned the pages. Her mask softened. For a moment, she wasn't Jason's apprentice in image. She was the daughter who remembered midnight fevers, hemmed dresses, and the warmth that had never made it into his speeches. Ryan's voice was low, controlled. "He built a kingdom on her back and told you the land was his." I leaned in. "Some men mistake silence for weakness. Sometimes it's strategy. I've been silent long enough, rain tapped the glass like a new tempo on a clock." "What are you going to do?" Madison whispered. "Stop living as if this house, this family, this life belonged to him," I said, "and show him they don't." Madison's phone buzzed. Dad. She let it buzz out on the wood. Monday, I stepped into a law office with a brass plaque, "Kelly Reed, ESQ." The room was neat, unsentimental. Kelly's eyes were the kind that missed nothing. I placed the folder on her desk. "I want to know my rights and how to keep them safe." Kelly flipped through, nodding. "You've already done the hard part. You kept records. The deed shows your name. Inheritance is separate property. You've documented contributions. You are not powerless, Mrs. Hart." The word I had feared for years, powerless, broke like thin ice under a heavier step. "What outcome do you want?" she asked. "Separation? Asset protection? Divorce?" The old answer, "I just want peace," rose up and dissolved. Peace had been the mask of my silence. "I want my name," I said, "and I want him to know it." Kelly's smile was brief, approving. "We'll draft protective filings and a preservation order." Quietly, for now. When it lands, he won't see it coming. She slid me a checklist: freeze accounts, rekey locks, document everything, route communication through counsel only. I folded it like a map home. Jason mistook my quiet for surrender. He came home later reeking of wine and another woman's perfume, leaving luxury receipts in his pockets like breadcrumbs. I didn't absorb the contempt. I logged it: dates, items, amounts, evidence, not injury. By Thursday, the Sterling ritual, I was ready. After his car pulled away, I dialed Officer Kelly from Community Services, a steady presence I'd met at a fundraiser. "Officer Kelly," I said evenly, "I'd like a wellness check at the Sterling room this afternoon. My husband is there weekly. He tells people I'm unstable, that he pays for everything. I believe misrepresentation is the point." "We can check," she replied. "Gimme details." "Mezzanine window table, 2 o'clock. He'll be with Madison Cole." "Understood." "Do you want a reference number?" "Yes," I said. "I want a trail." I hung up. My pulse was steady. Anticipation. Truth walking toward light. That night, Jason's key hit the lock like a dare. He stormed in, red-faced. "You sent police to Sterling?" I looked up from my book. "Did I?" "Don't be clever." "You humiliated me." "I thought humiliation was my job," I said softly. "At least, that's how you cast me." "You're finished, Emily. When Madison's campaign launches, you'll be a footnote." "Maybe," I said, closing the book, standing. "But footnotes live in the official record." "This time, so do I." He flinched. A flash I caught. Then he threw shadows the way some men throw apologies they don't mean. I placed my phone on the table and pressed record. When the past gets noisy, a clean record is a lighthouse. There are moments when your life splits into before and after, and it's never the moment you expect. Not the crash, not the bill. The split comes quieter. A clerk sliding a key across a counter, a brother standing by you, a lawyer saying you are not powerless. The hinge is ordinary. The door it opens is not. The week moved like scenes I was now directing. Madison arrived one evening in jeans and a hoodie, hair pulled back, the designer handbag traded for a canvas tote. "Auntie," she said softly, "Dad told his team you're dramatic. Difficult. I don't want to be part of that." "Then don't," I said, pulling out a chair. "Stay where truth feels like oxygen." Together we pored over documents. Madison's eyes sharpened at the survivorship clause. "He called your name symbolic?" she asked. "He did." "What did the county call it?" "Legal." She exhaled, somewhere between anger and awe. "I want to be there when you tell him." "You will," I said, "but not with a scream, with a stage." Jason doubled down. He posted filtered photos with captions about resilience. He sent a bouquet so large it needed its own chair. He begged for one last dinner. I routed everything through Kelly Reed. Not out of spite, out of structure. I also confirmed with the bank. Aunt Ruth's inheritance had executed in my name alone. The clerk said, "Yes, Ms. Hart," like a note hitting perfect pitch. I wrote in my notebook, "Not greed, wisdom." Aunt Ruth's voice, steady as a metronome. On Wednesday, Margaret called. "Jason is devastated. For optics, maybe resolve it quietly?" "This isn't optics," I said, polite as glass. "It's truth. Your son polishes reflections and sells them as Substance A pause." Then softer, "If you need a character statement, I'll write one. You cared for Richard when he was ill. You kept this family upright in ways I never saw. Thank you," I said, and meant it. Grace is not for the unworthy. It's the gift you give your own spine. Later she texted, "I'm proud of you for being steady." The first time proud had ever been used about me. Not Jason. Thursday returned. The Sterling room thrummed, mezzanine glowing like a stage. I didn't need to be there yet. I had placed the right names on the right lines. Others would roll the ball. At home, I stood in the kitchen as the kettle sang. Ryan texted, "Camera installed. Locks good." Madison sent a screenshot. Jason pacing the balcony, performing. I saved it. Then the call. Officer Kelly. We responded to a wellness check. We observed Mr. Hart, documented the interaction, and provided a reference number. Witnesses contradicted his story. Statements will be attached. Thank you, I said. The words were simple. The breath behind them was not. Do you want it sent to counsel? Yes. Kelly Reed, Esquire. Done, she said. For what it's worth, you handled this right. Quiet first. Paper second. I set the phone down, watching steam unspool. A thin white thread of life, rewoven. Night fell like theater velvet. Jason stormed in, brittle with rage. You think you're clever? Sending cops? You made me look ridiculous. You made yourself look true, I said. The cameras just helped everyone see it. He laughed, hollow. You won't do anything. Keep believing that, I said evenly. He poured whiskey too fast. Amber spilled across the counter, dripping to the floor. Men like Jason never look where the mess lands. Upstairs, I placed Officer Kelly's reference number atop the deed and Aunt Ruth's letter. On a fresh sticky note, I wrote, Sterling Room, Saturday, Gala. Then one more line, stage set. Lights up. When masks fall, it's never because someone rips them away. It's because truth makes the glue let go. And that was the moment the turning point stopped being theory and became event. If you've ever been told you're fragile, powerless, or worthless, hear me. You're not. Silence is not weakness. Sometimes it's strategy. But when truth arrives, let it speak. Would you have called the police from that hospital bed or waited for the right stage? Share below. Your words may be the light someone else follows tonight. The Sterling room was full again, this time with brighter lights, louder chatter, and cameras discreetly tucked along the mezzanine. Jason thrived on nights like this, where every handshake could be spun into an investment, every toast into a headline. He had polished his cufflinks twice before leaving home. He'd told Emily not to come. She came anyway. Emily entered quietly, her hair swept back, her navy dress understated but dignified. She wasn't there for the crowd's approval. She was there for the reckoning. Jason was at the head table, Madison by his side. He leaned toward her, laughter booming, his glass lifted. To new campaigns, new partnerships, new everything. Emily stepped forward. The murmur around her rose. Some guests recognized her from the disastrous birthday dinner. Their eyebrows lifted. She dared return. Jason spotted her, and his smirk widened. Emily? He said loudly. I didn't know we were doing charity appearances tonight. Laughter followed, eager, sycophantic. But Emily didn't flinch. She placed a thick envelope on the white linen before him. Her voice was clear, low, carrying farther than volume could. Jason Hart, she said, you've spent years building a reputation on lies. Tonight, I'm reclaiming what is mine. He chuckled, shaking his head. What could possibly be yours, Emily? This room? This campaign? You? She opened the envelope and spread out the documents. The deed with her name. Aunt Ruth's inheritance letter. Investment statements. The lawyer's preliminary filings. One by one, like cards in a deck stacked against him. This villa you brag about? She said, voice steady. It's mine. The deed is joint survivorship, funded by my aunt's down payment. These accounts? Left to me, in my name. You've told everyone I'm useless, that I depend on you. But without me, without my sacrifices, you're a man trespassing in his own home. The air shifted. Laughter died. Forks stilled. Madison's hand slipped from Jason's arm. Jason's voice cracked. You can't prove. Emily cut him off. Oh, but I can. And I have. Every receipt, every loan, every transfer. And just in case you spin another story. She lifted her phone. You'll find the county recorder's office has already confirmed my ownership. And my attorney has filed for immediate protection of assets. Gasps fluttered through the room. Phones glowed as guests whispered, checking public records, confirming the unthinkable. Madison stood, her chair scraping. You told me she was insignificant. Jason reached for her arm. She pulled away. You told me the house was yours? That everything was yours? Her lip curled. Turns out all you own is your arrogance. She left, her heels sharp against marble. Jason tried to laugh it off. She's exaggerating. You know how emotional women? Enough, Emily said, her voice like a gavel. Every time, you called me fragile. You mistook grace for weakness. Every time you called me useless, you forgot whose work carried you here. And every time you humiliated me, you forgot that silence doesn't mean surrender. It means I was waiting for the right room. This is the room. The police officer who had once helped with community fundraisers, Officer Kelly, stepped forward from the crowd. She had been quietly invited by Emily, documents in hand. We have everything we need for a formal report. Fraud, misrepresentation, and Mrs. Hart has filed protective orders. Jason's face drained. He sputtered. This is personal, not legal, Officer Kelly raised a brow. Actually, Mr. Hart, it's both. The crowd parted. Ryan appeared at the doorway, arms crossed, gaze steady. Madison stood beside him, no longer under her father's shadow. For the first time in years, she stood with her mother. Jason staggered back a step, the room closing in. His empire was crumbling, not with fists or fury, but with facts, witnesses, and the undeniable power of truth. Emily's final words cut through the hush. This villa? It's mine, and you're trespassing. Leave, before the law makes you. For once, Jason had no words. His mouth opened, then shut, like a fish gasping for air outside its tank. The room watched him shrink. No longer the charismatic entrepreneur, just a man unmasked. He left the Sterling room alone, shoulders hunched, the echo of his own humiliation following him out into the night. Back home, the locksmith was finishing the rekeying. Every lock clicked with a new sound, final and fresh. Jason's key no longer turned. His suitcase had been packed. Emily hadn't touched it. Ryan had. It sat waiting on the porch. Madison helped set new linens in the guest room. Ryan poured tea. For the first time in years, the Hart home felt like Emily's home. She held Aunt Ruth's letter once more. For the day, you decide what you are owed. Tonight, she had decided. Tonight, she had claimed it. If you've ever been silenced, if someone told you that you were worthless, fragile, or invisible, hear Emily's story. The moment came when she stood, when she spoke, when the truth no longer hid in drawers or shadows, and justice answered. And justice felt like a lock clicking shut, safe at last. Morning arrived softer. The house, her house, exhaled after years strapped tight. New locks clicked with calm certainty. In the kitchen, Emily brewed tea and watched steam bloom. For the first time in years, quiet wasn't loneliness. It was space. Ryan showed up with a toolbox and a grin. New door camera, he said. Boundaries people can see. Install it, Emily smiled. Then sit. I baked Madison followed later, ponytail neat, handbag traded for a canvas tote. She paused at the change doorknob, the small sticker, protected by Community Watch, then the flowers on the console. "Come in," Emily said. Madison hugged her hard. "I'm sorry for trusting the loudest voice instead of the truest." "You're here now," Emily answered. "That's what matters." They ate cinnamon bread at the table that had once hosted investors and now hosted honesty. Madison asked hard questions. Emily answered with the tenderness of lunch notes and bedtime stories. "Will he fight you?" Madison asked. "He'll try," Emily said, "but the law is clearer than his stories. And I have Kelly," as if summoned, attorney Kelly Reed called mid-morning. "The judge granted temporary protective orders," she said, brisk and pleased. "Jason is barred from the residence pending the property hearing. We've also filed to preserve your inheritance and home equity as separate contributions recognized under state law. Next, we set mediation." "Thank you," Emily said, relief warming her chest. "What do I do today?" "Live," Kelly replied. "Document, quiet, steady, smart." By noon, a courier brought heavy stationery. Margaret's handwriting marched across the page. "Emily, you've been misled. Jason is devastated. Let's resolve this privately." For optics, Emily called back, choosing dignity over retaliation. "Thank you for writing. But this isn't optics. It's truth. Your son polishes things until people mistake reflection for substance A breath caught." "I never wanted this for you," Margaret said. "I believe you," Emily answered. "I'm choosing something better for myself now." After a long pause, Margaret softened. "If you need a character reference, I'll write one. You cared for Richard when he was ill. You kept this family upright." "Thank you," Emily said. "Grace can arrive unannounced and still fit." In the next weeks, Jason tried old tricks. Regret-heavy texts, a ludicrous bouquet, filtered photos, and a plea for one last dinner. Emily replied only through counsel. Anger had done its work. Clarity remained. Her calendar filled with ordinary power, a library finance workshop, a shift at the legal clinic helping women organize documents, coffee with Ryan after practice, a walk with Madison in the park where Emily once ran beside a wobbling bicycle until balance took over. One evening, Madison brought back the earrings Emily had given her at 16. "I thought I lost them," she said. "They were at Dad's office." He liked the compliments. Emily turned them in the light. "Then let's keep the shine where it belongs." She clipped them on. Sunset caught and didn't ask permission. Mediation day. A beige room where big feelings become bullet points. Jason sat across from Emily, charm arranged like armor. Madison did not attend. Officer Kelly waited outside. Kelly Reed stacked files like scaffolding. "We'll address residents, support, and division." The mediator began. Jason leaned in. "Sell the house and split the proceeds." Kelly slid a document. "The deed and source of the down payment say otherwise. We seek a buyout credit for Emily's separate contribution and a structured settlement acknowledging years of unpaid labor." Jason scoffed. "Unpaid labor? Cooking?" Emily didn't blink. "Maintaining a life. Logistics, care, administration. The work you ignored because no one signed it." The mediator nodded. "Courts recognize non-monetary contributions. Ms. Hart's records are unusually thorough for hours. Facts replaced myths. Receipts replaced rumors." When Jason argued in adjectives, Kelly answered in numbers. When he performed contrition, Emily answered with boundaries. Agreement. Emily keeps the home with a credit for her inheritance. Jason provides transitional support, respectful communication, accounts subject to forensic review. Jason signed first, unsteady. Emily signed last, steady. Outside, a rinsed blue sky. Officer Kelly nodded. "You did well." "I did right," Emily said. That weekend, the house filled, not with curated laughter, but with neighbors bearing casseroles. Ryan tightened the banister. Madison painted the guest room eggshell with windows open and music low. They found a box labeled Wedding. Photos. Emily sifted the past, thrifted dress, dimpled grin, arching lights, kept 2 photos and set the rest aside for counsel. Memory, like inheritance, requires discernment. That night, Emily wrote a note to Aunt Ruth and slipped it into the safe. You told me to keep something with my name on it. I kept myself. Then she wrote to her former self, the woman who apologized for taking up space. You were never difficult. You were diligent. Never too much. Exactly enough. Now use that strength to hold yourself. On Sunday, Emily returned to the Sterling room. Not for a gala, but a quiet dinner with Ryan and Madison. The maitre d' offered a smile and a better table. People notice when dignity walks in without a megaphone. They ordered simply and laughed easily. Midway, a server set down a slice of cake with a candle. From Patricia, he said, nodding toward the manager who had helped Emily on her birthday. This time we celebrate properly. Across the room, Patricia met Emily's eyes. Emily lifted, her fork in salute. The candle wavered, then steadied. Make a wish, Madison said. Emily looked at her family, the bridge back to herself, and blew out the candle. Not for luck, she thought, but for the clean air that follows smoke. If you've ever been silenced, if you've been called worthless, fragile, a footnote, hear this and let it settle. You are not. Your sacrifices matter. Your worth cannot be measured by the signatures on a contract or the name on a bank account. Respect isn't given by blood. It's earned through love and kindness. And if someone refuses to see that, it does not diminish who you are. It only reveals who they are. So I want to ask you, right here, as part of our community, if it were you, what boundary would you draw first? Have you witnessed a similar injustice in your family, and what helped you through it? Share your story below. Your words might be the lifeline someone else needs tonight. Here, every story is a reminder. No one has to endure alone. We speak up for dignity and fairness together. If this story touched something in you, leave a comment or write a note to your future self right now. And don't forget to subscribe to Her Betrayal Stories so you won't miss the next tale of sacrifice, betrayal, and a twist where justice finally comes home. As evening closed, Emily stepped under a sky rinsed clean by dusk. She didn't feel triumphant. She felt right. The kind of right that doesn't roar. It roots. The kind that doesn't humiliate. It heals. Justice can be quiet paperwork and a steady spine. It looks like boundaries, not revenge. Tomorrow would bring practicalities. But tonight brought a promise kept. Not to endure what breaks her, but to build what holds. And in that quiet victory, a chapter closed with the soft click of a door that finally locks from the inside.